Commissioner. I want to start with the announcement that you made at this conference, opening it, regarding the fact that the European Union member states now have access to European-made secure and encrypted satellite communication system, GovSatCom. How does this step help Europe seek its strategic autonomy and independence? How important is this step?
Well, it's important. We promise that we shall do that, for quite a period of time, because this is part of our long-term strategy to develop European secure satellite communication system, so-called IRIS², which we are really moving ahead. But realistically, we know, all of us, that this new constellation can be operational somewhere around of 2029. So not to have an empty space now for several years, especially when geopolitical challenges and threats are so much coming from different sides. Definitely we need to develop some precursor capabilities for secure satellite communication, and that is what we did with GovSatCom. And also what we are planning to do is that we shall expand this intermediate service. Next stage will be that we shall try to enlarge with capabilities of commercial entities. But in parallel, we are developing IRIS². The same we are looking into as observation. It's second, it's another topic, but also very crucial, that we need to start from combining existing national assets to, then to expand with possibilities of commercial assets, but in parallel to build our own European Union as observation governmental service constellation.
Well, you've mentioned the geopolitical context that is very tricky these days, to put it mildly. How can this step, when it comes to GovSatCom, reduce the EU's dependence on foreign space services, but most importantly, and specifically on Starlink, which is owned by Elon Musk, and space, like the dominant position of it?
Americans on Friday in the United States announced the national defense strategy, which speaks very clear language, that priority for the United States will be Indo-Pacific and Western Hemisphere, and that they will ask Europeans to take more of responsibility on European defense on our own shoulders, because they will need to diminish their presence here in order to be much stronger in those priority areas. And we know very well, and experts are speaking that very, very clearly, that for us the issue and the challenge is that Americans really are providing us with what we call strategic enablers. And we are quite heavily dependent. And first of all on space services, but also on some, what we can call very, very material services, like air refueling, for example, or heavy airlift capabilities and so on. So we need to develop those capabilities. So that is why really IRIS², I always repeat what I hear from experts, when we shall have IRIS², it will be better than Starlink.
This is also, this step when it comes to GovSatCom goes really hand in hand with the EU efforts to bolster in general the European Union's defense capabilities and also the EU's readiness before the end of the decade. Some intelligence agencies estimate that Russia could attack another European country in the coming years. Do you think the EU is moving towards improving and strengthening its defense? Should this be a realistic scenario?
Well, we are really moving ahead very much, and steps forward are done both in space, but also into what we can call in general in defense. Mm-hmm. Last year was very, very, very crucial. Really, we made a lot of very important steps forward, creating opportunities for member states to develop their defense capabilities, mm-hmm. both on Earth but also in space. Because we created opportunities to increase defense spending. Because if member states will implement what they pledged to NATO, that they will increase their defense spending up to 3.5% till 2035 during the next 10 years, it means that member states will spend for defense around of 6.8 trillion euros during the next 10 years. And we can see also the tendency that those defense money are also used for investments into space for defense capabilities, like Germany is doing, some other countries are doing. So really we can see that things are moving ahead. It's of course a challenge for industry when money is coming, to increase their production capabilities. We are worried that money are coming, but how to say, the lines to get products are becoming longer and longer. So I mean that industries are not able to fulfill all the contracts in a most speedy way.
There is something else when it comes to general defense. Germany, together with France, introducing voluntary military service schemes. We've heard recently from Spanish foreign minister that Spain said that the EU must move towards creating a European army. What's your take on that?
We need to understand that if Americans are asking us to take responsibility on conventional defense of Europe, we are not talking about nuclear defense. Well, we hope that Americans will continue to provide nuclear umbrella. But on conventional defense, we need to see if Americans are diminishing their presence on the European continent, what we shall need to replace. We were talking about strategic enablers, material, let's say, things, in space, on Earth, and so on. But besides that, Americans have around 100,000 troops on the European continent, a little bit less, 80,000 maybe. But they are playing very crucial role. They are playing what experts are calling backbone military force in Europe. The question is how we shall replace. If Americans are withdrawing also their troops, how we shall replace that capability. Can we replace 100,000, American troops, which are, really trained as a standing cohesive army, with, combination of 27? And here is a doubt that it will be, the same effect. So that was my point. Not to, let's say, create a European army which would replace all the national armies, but to create, 100,000 European troops to be ready to replace what we are now getting from American presence on the European continent.
So can we?
Yeah, we can. Definitely, if member states will agree.
Okay, but we've heard recently over the past couple of days, obviously, the comments from NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who said, and I'm going to quote him here to make it exact, that the European Union should keep on dreaming about becoming independent from the United States, its largest ally, in matters related to security and defense. What's your take on Mark Rutte's comments regarding this?
Well, I saw different quotes of that, because in one media I saw that he was speaking about nuclear defense. That Europeans should, stop dreaming about possibility to, to defend itself without American nuclear umbrella. So this is really, I agree with him. For time being, at least, in Commission, we really, this is a business for member states to decide what's about nuclear umbrella, but Americans said in a very clear way that they are ready to keep this umbrella, and we are happy with that.
So the conventional side, this is not just about dreaming, that is more realistic.
It's the reality of today.
When is it going to be possible and when it can be the reality?
Well, it's, no, I cannot tell you in a very clear date, I think that even today we have quite a lot of capabilities, but we need to look into the perspective. And we need to understand that Russia, which is the biggest threat for us in conventional terms for European security, they have, they built a war economy. They are producing a lot of weapons. And if peace in Ukraine will come, which we hope that it will come, they will not stop with their war economy. We should not forget that when we are comparing Russia, we need to use a comparison of so-called purchasing power parity, not just nominal numbers. Because if nominal numbers were looking, so Russia is spending, I don't know, the last numbers, 150 billion euros for defense per year. We are spending, it looks like, more. But if we're looking in purchasing power parity, how much of the same amount of euros you can build, for example, tanks in Russia and tanks in Europe, then it appears that now Russia is spending for defense 85% of that level which we all, European Union, are spending for defense. Besides that, of course, we need to take into account that Russia, if they will start aggression against, against European Union member states, Russia will come with battle-tested military force. On our side, we do not have such an experience. On our side, we can say that only Ukrainians have such an experience. So that is why for us the question is not only how to build, how to spend more money for defense as Europeans, but also how to integrate Ukrainian battle-tested capabilities with our capabilities.
Commissioner, very briefly, the final one. If this is the case, and if Russia attacks, as you say, do you expect the United States to come for support and help for its NATO allies in Europe?
Well, I trust what I hear, and even President Trump earlier, back in Hague summit, he said that Americans are keeping their promises for NATO.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this conversation. Commissioner Kubilius, thank you.